implicated in the Ashaiman incident. Details of that in a moment. Later in the bulletin, which will be specific in business, Ghana's inflation drops marginally for the second consecutive month over the cedi's relative stability and a slump in global oil prices. And when we go, we would also alert you on the information that inflation has gone down marginally, and there has been an overpass railway crossing in Nigeria, which is being built to help ease traffic congestion in Lagos, the capital. We're starting with the big one having to do with the military brutalities in Ashaiman that happened about a fortnight ago. Now, the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, says that the silence of the executive regarding the violations of human rights following military invasion of Ashaiman constitutes a tacit endorsement. CDD Ghana also demanded that the president punish the officers responsible for ordering such acts. Parts of the statement released by CDD noted that the government's tacit endorsement of the incident only goes to embolden the military officers to take matters into their own hands whenever they deem it necessary to do so. The Ghana Armed Forces has, in a statement, justified the attack, saying the raid was to fish out perpetrators of the heinous crime, which was the killing of Trooper Imoro Sharif. Now, on the back of that, a number of soldiers were unleashed on the citizens of Ashaiman, and you can see on your screens that unfortunate day when many of them were even made to drink those very dirty gutter water. So many have shifted their sympathy towards the slain soldier to the brutalities that has been widely condemned. So let's go to Zoom now and engage the thoughts of Gilfred Isiama-Boateng, who is research analyst at CDD Ghana. He's joined us via Zoom. Hello, sir. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Right. So we can hear you now that you have unmuted. But to start with, your statement says that the executive branch of government has been silent or quiet on it, specifically the president, you mean, and that silence is a subtle endorsement of the brutalities. How so? Why do you say that?
Well, first of all, we want to make it clear that as a center, we are very disappointed in the actions of the military. It is very unprofessional, it is very barbaric, and it is uncivilized. And we believe some of these actions do not have any place in any democratic and any civilized society. And it is not only worrying that the military found it necessary to commit some of these acts, it is equally worrying that the actions of the military have found support by senior level government officials, including the Deputy Minister for Defense, and the silence that we see across different levels of government. These acts are very dangerous because it's an endorsement or something that can lead to lawlessness, and it is everything against rule of law and due process. And let's be mindful that the military is under a democratic and a civilian regime. And if the military is under a democratic and a civilian regime, every actions that affect individual military officers must be subject to civilian control. And what happened in Ashaiman that affected a soldier, we think is very unfortunate. But as unfortunate as the incident is, it is a criminal issue which lies squarely in the ambit of the Ghana Police Service. And under no circumstance should the military use state resources that have been entrusted in their care to protect the citizens, to brutalize the citizens. And it is also regrettable, as we've indicated, to see that kind of silence and the tacit endorsement by high-level government officials.
Right, and on the back of that particular statement you just landed on, we know that, for instance, the military high command specifically the leadership, have come out to say that, well, they endorsed the action. Secondly, we've heard the committee in Parliament also saying that they acknowledge the excesses that came up as a result of that. The Deputy Defense Minister you referred to also said that there were some excesses which he apologized for. And, you know, so if all these voices have spoken, should it still be necessary that President Akufo-Addo or the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces still make a statement regarding Ashaiman?
Well, if you know the system we are operating very well, the President is very important in every aspect of our democratic regime. It wouldn't have been necessary for the President to necessarily come into some of these issues. But as it happened years ago, that we saw actions by the President that led to swift control of some of these issues in WA, we think it's something that the President should take up. And at the same time, we should also be mindful that this is not an isolated incident. It's been happening over the years. Over the past 3 years, we've seen the military go out and do some of these regrettable acts. And it's about high time that we have the President, who is the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, to actually take control of some of these things that are happening. So it is within this context that when you think about the intervention of the President, it is very important. But the actions, the words, the tacit approval from quarters of government are very shameful, to say the least.
Right, and Guilfred, I have two final questions for you. First would have to do with, you mentioned the fact that what happened, the killing of the soldier, falls rightly within the remit of the Ghana Police Service. So the military should have allowed them to undertake the investigation like they have done, and then some 6 persons have been arrested. They also said they used intelligence, but I think on the back of that, many have an issue with trusting the system. As in the Ghana Police system, the Ghana Police Service themselves, over the period they investigate something, questions are raised about it, we really do not get to see or hear the end of some of these cases. So could it be, you know, a subtle justification for reasons why the military thought that, well, because there is a certain level of mistrust of the police service, maybe they want to go ahead and do their own investigations?
Well, there is no justification for any person or institution in this country to take the law into their own hands. And that's why we are saying what the military did is against rule of law and due process. So if the military cannot trust the police, so they want to take some of these things into their own hands, are we also encouraging the people to execute mob justice because they can trust the police? So that argument cannot hold under any circumstance.
Right. And finally, you also touched on the recent use of the military. We see them now a lot more often in a number of civilian spaces, and they're used by this current administration for a number of things that have been, then again, condemned widely. What, in your estimation, is accounting for the continuous use or now the increasing sighting of soldiers within civilian spaces?
It is very difficult for me to actually prefer reasons why we are falling in love with the military in our civilian affairs. But the least I can say is that that practice, which we've seen in recent times, are not encouraging. If we feel that the existing institutions that must take care of internal security are not up to task, we have every responsibility to resource them and provide the necessary training for them to be able to do their tasks very well, and let the military focus on their core duties and mandates which we expect them to do.
Guilfred, pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your time. Guilfred Isiamah is with the CDD Ghana. They've released a statement on the military brutalities in Ashaiman. And so if you go to our website, you get details of the specifics of their statement. They're still staying on issues regarding Ashaiman, though. A dawn raid by the Ghana Armed Forces in response to the killing of a soldier has raised an age-old question. Why always Ashaiman? Godwin Asediba tries to find answers amidst horror tales of army brutality and residents constantly being caught living in fear on the next episode of Assignment, which will be airing later today on TV3. Here are excerpts of the feature.
The street of Ashaiman is one of the busiest at night. Traders here take the opportunity of the crowd to cash in, but most of them are being robbed after sales by unknown thugs.
Sometimes when the people close and they are going home, some of them are from work, they carry their bags on. You see the boys opening their bag. So immediately we see the boys opening their bag, we will shout, "Hey, my bag no, my bag no, mo." Some of them will run away, some of them they will catch them and will beat them.
Majority of the crimes committed in here are pickpocketing of phones and money, selling of fake items, swindling and many more. But the assemblyman of the Ashaiman Municipal Assembly, Ni Ayiku Kabute, thinks otherwise.
I don't think you can go to Accra Central and then be walking on the street alone at the time 12 a.m. You can't. You can't. Everywhere. So Ghana is like that. So we should know. If you are security conscious, there are some of the times that you don't walk alone. So it's everywhere.
The recent attack on the soldier comes as a shocker to him, but he condemned the actions by the military personnel deployed to the area and also called on the police to speed up their investigation. But the big question here, why always Ashaiman?
People are still perceiving Ashaiman as the same old Ashaiman that they knew in the past, or the name that they've heard in the past. They still think that Ashaiman is the same Ashaiman. Yes, we all admit that in the past, in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 70s, crime rate at Ashaiman has always been in ascendancy. But as we speak now, it has reduced drastically.
Find out on Ashaiman and the Siege, which airs on Wednesday, March 15 on The Assignment at 9 p.m. Ashaiman at night, full of life, energy, and many residents say hidden dangers. And many others argue full of people grossly misunderstood and duly stereotyped and branded as violent miscreants.
If you're the nobody should say Ashaiman people are like these are criminals. It's not true.
My name is Godwin Asideba, and on this edition of The Assignment, I will examine how a community's notoriety, perceived or real, has been in a nation's focus after the murder of a 21-year-old soldier and the Ghana Army's brutal. Heavily criticized, some say disproportionate reaction. Ashaiman and the Siege airs on Wednesday, March 15 on TV3 and on all our digital media platforms at 9 p.m.
So you do want to grab a popcorn and some Coke and sit 9 p.m. on TV3, Ashaiman and the Siege. Amazing feature put together by Godwin Asideba. Do make a date and then we can have the conversation, the ins and outs after that feature airs today. All right, so we are shifting away from Ashaiman and security-related issues to other securities, this time around money. So government has assured bondholders who did not subscribe to the domestic debt exchange program that processes have begun to settle payments on outstanding bonds. A statement issued by the Ministry of Finance on Tuesday, the 14th of March, said that the processes began on Monday, the 13th of March. The assurance comes after the aggrieved bondholders raised concerns about the non-payment of matured coupons and principals on the set date, despite earlier assurances given in the aftermath of the program. So it looks as though, whereas the bondholders are expecting some quick action in terms of monies being paid to them, government says, relax, the process has begun, you'll get your money soon. But how soon is government soon? Sani Abdulrahman is with 3 Business, is joining me in studio for a little chit-chat on this. Sani, good afternoon, thank you for joining us.
Martin.
Government issued a statement saying that the processes have begun to settle payments. What really do we know? Have any of the bondholders gotten notification that the money has hit their account, or we are still within the process period?
So as of the time walking into the studio, there was no indication or notification from the Treasury to any of the bondholders that matured but were not paid, hitting their accounts as far as the payment of the bonds are concerned. So it hasn't been paid yet. But ordinarily, when government releases the funds to the Central Securities Depository, it takes some hours or maybe a day for them to credit the account of these bondholders. And if the indication is that the process for payment started yesterday, at least by now we should be hearing from some of the bondholders as to whether the monies have hit their accounts or not.
Okay, and which category of coupons are we being told that government is paying?
Remember, at the height of the domestic debt exchange program, 3 bonds matured, 3 separate batches matured. We have the one that matured on February 6, on February 13, and of course on February 20. And these 3 bonds are yet to be honored. The government, we know, suspended payments during the exercise with the hope that some of these investors may change their stance to ultimately participate in the domestic debt exchange program. So government was trying to kind of woo them to join the exercise, but eventually it succeeded in getting some of them to participate in the exercise. So even though their bonds matured, but some of them allowed it to be rolled over and they were assigned the new bonds. Others also said, no, we want our monies because of the uncertainty. We don't want to have anything to do with government bonds. And these are the group that we've seen agitating and asking for their monies to be paid. A lot of deadlines government has set, yet it has not fulfilled. We've heard from the groups fronting for the individual bondholders asking government to make the payment, or they will have to renew their protest that we've seen in the last, and that creates a lot of anxiety and uncertainty on the market. Government certainly does not want that to happen. I'm quite surprised because I know even the 3 bonds, even before some of them decided to tender to participate in the domestic debt exchange, the volumes is not quite high. So government should have the capacity. And now that we have some in the range of 70%, 80%, 60% of some of these groups tendering their bonds, it means the remainder is not much for government to be having all this back and forth with these investors. Too many noise on the market, and government should be able to resolve this. So
that. Okay, certainly it's a conversation we'll still be having because we know there's a 48-hour ultimatum that some of the bondholders have given. We'll be getting further details on that. So Sani Abdul Rahman is with 3 Business, and he'll be joining us in the next few minutes with the latest in the world of business here on Midday Live. Okay, so Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has chastised critics who claim that the gold for oil policy has not reduced fuel prices at the pumps. Speaking at a forum organized by the Bulk Oil Storage and Transformation Company in Accra, the Vice President noted that the policy has worked effectively and will lead to the reduction of fuel from Thursday, the second pricing window in the month of March at the pumps.
I am happy to note that the gold for oil policy is the first policy of its kind in Ghana since independence to address this type of balance of payments crisis that we face. My humble opinion, this is the most important macroeconomic policy intervention to deal with the exchange rate depreciation, fuel price, food price, and inflation nexus that we have had. We have not only seen a decline in prices from the 23 cedis per litre to around 12 cedis per litre, we have also seen stability in the exchange rate as we predicted. And I must say, all thanks should go to the Ministry of Energy, to BOST, to MPA, to the Bank of Ghana, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and the PMMC, who rose up to the occasion when we face this crisis of a rapidly depreciating currency along with rapidly increasing fuel, transportation, and food prices. I've been told that next week we are likely to see fuel prices fall again as a result of this policy. And next week is not actually, Professor has just said it's not that far, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow we will see the decline in prices that we expect. I mean, This is remarkable. 2.5 months ago, you were at 23 cedis per liter. Today, you are at 12 cedis and falling. That is a good point.
And that's Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia saying that fuel prices will go down from tomorrow. But one other thing that we are also looking forward to is the fact that in the next few, probably months, you'll start paying new tolls. And the chairman of the Road and Transport Committee of Parliament, Kennedy Osei Nyako, says that any amount less than 5 cedis for the road toll will be fiercely resisted by his committee in Parliament. But the minority side is calling for a decapping of the road fund and is also pushing for the broader consultation that will have the rate gradually accepted by all.
As a chair of a committee for roads and transport, I have not had any discussion. There hasn't been any discussion, or we haven't been informed about the proposed rate for the reintroduction of the toll. I have always make a stance that if government want to do reintroduction of the toll, we have to just bite the bullet and fix a rate that will be commensurable or will be able to raise enough revenue to solve our road problems. Because I don't see the reason why, if a rate was 1 cedi and now you, after some years, you want to put it 1 cedi 50 pesos. To me, I think it is inadequate.
Already, the chairman of the Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament, Kennedy Osei Nyako, is indicating that he will not approve of anything less than 5 cedis as a road toll.
So after suspending the road toll for more than a year, and you are adding just 50 pesos to it, then why we could have as well go ahead to maintain the 1 cedi and add, whilst we are collecting the 1 cedi, we could have made a proposal and add 50 pesos to it. But if you come and you said you have suspended it and you want to add, for me, as a road chair, I will not support anything less than 5 cedis. And I'm saying it based on the fact that the average road toll in the sub-region, even globally, is $1. What is $1? How much is $1 today? Okay? So if you're able to raise if it is 5 cedi, we are short of raising not less than 1 billion Ghana cedi. Do you know what 1 billion Ghana cedi can do? It can do so many things on our road.
On the side of the minority, anything less than a broader consultation on the matter will not be entertained or countenanced.
I think this is a sad situation. He claimed 78 million cedis a year is not enough. I can tell you there are people who have weeded roadsides with feeder roads and other things whose bills are at road fund currently. Some owed as little as 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 20,000 cedis who are not being paid, and they're in their thousands. A 78 million Ghana cedi would have cleared a chunk of those people's bills. We will support this if the discussion is broad-based, includes all stakeholders, but we are not going to support this just to create another revenue stream into the general pool of government for them to use to pay for very unnecessary things like cathedral and others. We will not support it. I know there has been some general understanding that based on the inflation and other things, I've heard people in the public say that, look, if you drive V8 and they charge you 5 cedis to cross the motorway, they don't care. Because if you can drive V8, you should be able to pay. I am of the view that, of course, we all know that in the makeup of the public means that some people are better off in terms of resources. So obviously they can pay. I mean, but then if maybe Uber and the transportation that takes care of ordinary people, we can look at how they charge so that the cost is not passed on heavily onto those ones. But if somebody decides to sit in his very expensive car alone, driving around, and is charged whatever amount, I don't think the public should be worried about that.
Well, as to whether this would bring in the necessary revenue that government needs in as much as it's seeking an IMF bailout, it remains an unanswered question regarding what government is seeking to do. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Parliament House, Accra.
And staying on the issues of road tolls, some motorists in Kumasi have welcomed the reintroduction of road tolls with the hope that it will help in reducing the country's huge debt. They, however, want a strong monitoring to block the revenue leakages from the tolls.
Government has made known its intention to resume the collection of road tolls on some selected roads across the country. Now, the reinstatement of the road toll is one of the revenue-generating plans in the 2023 budget that the Finance Minister submitted to Parliament last November. Payment of tolls on public roads ceased in November 2021 as part of policy measures announced by the government in the 2022 budget. But with the reintroduction, how are motorists reacting to it?
Previously, only just a tiny percentage of it gets to the government chest. And that's not the right thing to do, is it? So they have to make some provisions that the money collected at the toll goes to the government. That's my main issue of it. You know, I don't have a problem with them reintroducing it. But make sure that the highest percentage of the tolls collected goes to the government. Even if they increase it to 10 cedis, I don't have any problem with it. But we have to make sure that the money gets to the government, not to individuals' collectors' pocket, as is happened previously. They collect the money and they keep the money for themselves, which is not the right thing, is it?
For those of us who are calling for it to be reinstated, for me, it's a welcoming news. I've heard about people complaining about the 100% increment in some of the rates and about 50%. I think for now it's okay. We all know that this government is in dire need of cash. So whatever we can do to assist them, to raise revenue, to deal with our debt stock, please, let us not get overly partisan with these ones. Let's all help them. Let's pay the tolls. The collection must be improved. They must find ingenious ways to plug leakages that previously existed in the collection. They must do away with party boys who are asked to go and then man those posts who go and then print tickets and be making money at the expense of the state. If they do that and they're able to raise money, at least it will bring down the financial difficulties that we are going through. So for me, apart from the fact that the withdrawal was a silly move, bringing it back, it's okay.
The reintroduction is laudable because it generates revenue and creates employment for the youth. I wish government establish more toll booths on our major route for more people to be employed. I know some drivers are not happy, but it is in our own interest, so they should exercise patience.
We will be monitoring development and update you subsequently. Ibrahim Abubakar, TV3 News, Kumasi.
Away from that, the minority in Parliament is upset with government for lowering the standard of the National Award Scheme by awarding Health Minister, Information Minister and Frontier Health Services for their roles in the COVID-19 fight. On Tuesday, the two ministers were awarded Star of the Volta Awards for their role in the COVID-19 prevention. Ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament, Kwabena Minta Akando, briefing the press in Parliament, says the two ministers and Frontier Services are undeserving of the awards, hence should be stripped of it.
In as much as the minority agrees with the principle of duly recognizing the effort of deserving awardees, we are of the opinion that yesterday's event lowered the high standards previously set and maintained by previous awardees by commingling deserving and undeserving awardees at the event. For the first time in our history, persons whose conduct are currently being probed by Parliamentary Committee of Inquiry were publicly decorated with high honors in a desperate attempt by the President to finalize the corruption clearing process that he began during the message of the State of the Nation address in Parliament. The sensibilities of Ghanaians are ever being tested by this government and it beat the imagination of reasonable Ghanaians how a minister who, not so long ago, was investigated for the manner in which he flouted our procurement laws to award overpriced contracts for procurement of Sputnik V in what looked like an underhand dealings to defraud the state, was given the high honor of the Order of the Volta.
All right, so what are your thoughts on the awards? Congratulations to all those who got the awards as well. Now, 27 selected junior high schools from 11 districts in the Western region are geared up for the third edition of the Connect Cowbell Western Best Brain Challenge, which has been launched in Takoradi. The Connect Cowbell Western Best Brain Challenge is a quiz competition among selected junior high schools in the areas of science, mathematics, English, and general knowledge.
There are about 11 new entrants in this year's competition who were drawn from various districts including Shama, Jomoro, Elembele, among other districts. The Connect Cowbell Western Best Brain Challenge is a quiz competition among selected junior high schools in the areas of science, mathematics, English, and general knowledge. The competition, which began with 2 municipalities, the Sekende Takoradi Metropolitan Area and the Efia Kwesimintim Municipal in 2021, has now been extended to 11 out of the 14 districts of the Western region, with Cowbell from Promasidor Ghana Limited being the official sponsor. Station manager for Connect FM, Ransford Nanausei Asari, speaking during the launch, touted the success story of the program, which he said has brought out the best in students from participating schools who are now pursuing their dream courses in their first choice senior high schools.
This year promises to be another exciting competition with the feedbacks we've received so far. And for this year, we have 11 new entrants. It tells you that each year when we finish, the excitement is generated and schools want to partake. What we intend to do this year is also to add a twist to what we are calling the scientist segment of the integrated science. And here we want to give a practical feel of what is being studied in class.
Representative of the Western Regional Minister, Charles Kobana, said child education should be a collective effort between government and the people, and therefore commended Connect FM for championing such worthy cause. He, however, called for the sustainability of the initiative and pledged the full support of the Western Regional Coordinating Council.
As RCC, maybe it will be time for us to come in with some prize of some sort. So all of us who are part of this one, let us see that it is a good thing and that we will sustain it. We started 3 years ago. I am looking at celebrating the 50th anniversary of this program.
Representatives from the Education Directorate of Efia Kwesimintim Municipal Assembly and the Sekende Takoradi Metro Assembly, Kate Baini and Sally Nelly Coleman, praised Connect FM and Promasidor.
We thank Connect FM for this vision. Yes, education is holistic. It doesn't only go on in the classroom. Outside it is part. For bringing this vision and grooming our students, we thank you.
And for the past 3 years, Connect FM and Cowbell have decided to support the teaching and learning of science and mathematics in our various schools. We say thank you very much, because government cannot do it alone.
There were solidarity messages from defending champions St. Antonio of Padua JHS, as well as sponsors of the program and dignitaries who graced the occasion. The launch was led by the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the Takoradi Technical University, Professor Victor Kweku Bonze Maika, together with the station manager of Connect FM, Ransford Nanausei Asari, and other dignitaries present.
This is still Midday Live on TV3. Stay with us. Business is right up after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo Superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful M-Punch one?
Chese na me ankasa me period na se problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chese na nya asem ketewa na me kwan point no mo hwe me modem no mo hwe bibia na so mo meduro me fire no ene ma won kra me enu kofro kwa na mkwan mu a eba and everything yourself
me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante ene ne ko end point o mama no nura ene ne ho idea watimi asori anante.
That's end point for you of Acrobato. Hello hey ohwehwe what che okay a free bra wo di end point what dance am me call you no me Johnson sema na enkoyie empaso na my emre nyina na magina sebema na me no bifie for there e ho na nyina jaresa. You heard everything. I have secret. M-Punch is my secret. M-Punch Homeopathic Clinic. I'm free.
Headache, toothache, pains? Worry no more. Introducing Alteco Cooling Patch. Aches and pains are things of the past. With Alteco Cooling Patch by your side, all you have to do is to gently take out the patch from the sachet and place on the portion that aches, and in a few minutes you have your relief. Alteco Cooling Patch is not suitable for children below 1 year. Available in Ecos Pharmacy, Farmer George Outlet, Chaska Pharmacy at Shaiman, Jamie Hatch Pharmacy at Denta, and the Palace Mall. For bulk purchase, call 0243-148469. Want relief from aches and pains? It's Alteco Cooling Patch. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
When the sun rises, there is hope. While this hope lingers on, the citizens look up to the government, the economy, the national development agenda, and everything in between. On Ghana Tonight, it's our utmost priority to bring you insightful conversations on the economy, break down the biggest issues while setting the agenda for transformation and national development. The big and important stories are treated from the human interest angle, while the facts and the figures are painted with precision. So now, let's cut the convention and start the conversation here on Ghana Tonight. I am your host, Alfred Okamsi.
Ghana Tonight shows Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. on TV3.
We are on a mission promoting access to quality health and education through the power of our media space. Since 2014, we have made great impact. TV3 mission now drives Ghana's quest to break barriers and provide access to inclusive and quality girls' education, together with women's maternal health services. Our mission to address the needs of the socially excluded has won the admiration of many. Indeed, TV3 Mission gets you the results. Mission is live on TV3 News 360 every Saturday and Sunday. Supported by Star Ghana Foundation, with thanks to Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office.
This is still Midday Live on TV3. Time now for business, and we've been joined by Sani Abdulrahman again. Hello, Sani.
Hello, Martin.
What's happening in business beyond debt, domestic debt exchange?
Of course, we have the very latest on the growth of the economy, as the Ghana Statistical Service has just released data from that side of the economy. So we are updating viewers as to how the economy has grown in the last month.
All right, take it away.
Of course, my name is Sani Abdurrahman. Let's start from the Ghana Statistical Service because consumer prices fell marginally in the month of February as the cedi enjoyed relative stability and global oil prices dropped in the last few weeks. Inflation slowed to 52.8% from 53.6% in January. On month-on-month basis, prices went up 1.9%. It is the second consecutive month that inflation has slowed since reaching a more than two-decade high of 54.1% in December. The central bank has hiked its main lending rate by 13.5 percentage points in the past year in an effort to contain price rises. This has resulted in cost of credit surging significantly, with businesses asking the Bank of Ghana to reverse its hawkish inflation fights. In some other stories this afternoon, after a long while of Treasury bills seeing some oversubscription, government is planning to raise almost 2.8 billion cedis this week on the Treasury markets. Proceeds of the T-bills auction will be used to finance maturing principal amounts worth over 2.5 billion cedis. The funds are expected to be raised through the 91-day and 182-day bills. Interest rate on Treasury bills have in recent weeks seen a decline following government rejection of bids as the stagnant 35% levels as it sought to correct the yield anomalies on the money market. Investors have since agreed to relatively lower their rate, and it is anticipated that the trend will continue in the coming weeks. Let's do some energy story because consumers of petroleum products should expect a further drop in the prices of petrol and diesel and LPG respectively. Prices are set to fall between 3 and 10% at the pumps following a decline in the activities of price drivers in the last 2 weeks, according to the Institute for Energy Security, IES. Prices are projected to fall between 12 cedis 60 pesos per litre for petrol, 13 cedis 40 pesos for diesel and 14 cedis per kilogram for LPG. The projected reduction in price of petroleum products, according to the energy think tank, is as a result of two major price indicators: falling international prices of oil and the local currency's improvements against the US dollar. Now let's do some other stories because the tax expert Francis Timor-Boy has reiterated that government has to deal with the issues of corruption and accountability at the toll booths if it wants to rake in more from the revenue measure. According to him, this must be done before the reintroduction commences to save governments from losing money while fulfilling its mandate of securing good road networks.
Everything was manual. People were stationed by the roadside and collecting the toll, causing so much traffic. Look, other countries have done it, and it is not a difficult thing to do. We should digitalize the whole process. So you either go online, you recharge your account, the money goes straight away to Bank of Ghana, and it is electronic. You remove the human corruption bit from the whole process. So I go and recharge my card, I fix it on my windscreen. I can buy for a year, I can buy for 2 years, or whichever period I want. Immediately I pass under the bridge, the rate is deducted. If I see that it is going low, I go back and recharge electronically. You see it, if people who cannot buy the electronic version, you create some lane for them to go and pay cash at a higher cost by discouraging the cash transaction. At the end of the day, the electronic mode, people cannot cheat that system.
Let's do some Greek story because the Côte d'Ivoire Ghana Cocoa Initiative has disclosed that it is working assiduously to ensure better pricing of cocoa for farmers. The fair trade platforms of Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire alone control more than 60% of global cocoa production. Now, this, according to technical manager for the initiative at a cocoa advocacy workshop, they are working to gain competitive pricing for farmers in both countries, which will result in an improved living standard for the farmers.
Engaged over the past few months actively with partners in the industry to ensure that we kickstart conversations on the actions that we all need to take to help our farmers get better pricing. Our two countries put in place the LID price, the Living Income Differential Price Mechanism a few years ago, and we are working together to ensure that the price mechanism is consolidated. We are looking at various actions that need to be taken and the accountability that needs to be put in place to ensure that we are able to get better prices for our farmers.
And that's all we have for in this package. Yao Fosula is standing by with sports. Don't go away.
Is aware that globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. That's why by giving her Pepsodent, you're not only protecting her teeth, but also helping her grow up and thrive at every stage of her life with a healthy and confident smile, so she can succeed and achieve all of her dreams. Because every smile matters.
You know what I love? My family, my friends, and of course you. And that's why I found it important to get the COVID jab. Also, I want you to go and take the jab so we can all live a happy and healthy life for a long time. The numbers are rising. That means COVID is still out there. Go and get the jab. The vaccine is safe. Of course, I love my life.
Zest Consult is the best place for your IELTS, SAT, and GRE tuition. The IELTS facilitates study, work, and live abroad. The SAT and GRE facilitate study abroad on scholarships. Zest Consult has an amazing track record of training around 4,000 students, nurses, midwives, and many others who have excelled in these examinations and realized their study and work abroad dreams. Contact us if you really want to study on scholarship. Zest Consult also provides real estate, automobile, and IT solution services. We can help you buy or sell lands and buildings and rent office spaces or accommodation. We can also help you obtain a car loan or buy or sell a car. If your institution needs a stunning website and amazing software, then contact us. You can call or WhatsApp us on 0345 631 633 or 050 909 2330. You can locate us at Kumasi Cultural Center and the Chamsume 5 inside Willas Towers. Zest Consult, excellence is our hallmark.
At Shaiman, at night, full of life, energy, and many residents say hidden dangers. And many others argue, full of people grossly misunderstood and duly stereotyped and branded as violent miscreants.
If you're the Mensa, nobody should say Ashaiman people are like are criminals. It's not true.
My name is Godwin Asidiba, and on this edition of The Assignment, I will examine how a community's notoriety, perceived or real, has been in a nation's focus after the murder of a 21-year-old soldier and the Ghana Army's brutal. Heavily criticized, some say disproportionate reaction. Ashaiman and the Siege airs on Wednesday, March 15 on TV3 and on all our digital media platforms at 9 p.m.
Welcome back to Midday Live on TV3. Time now for sports, and later tonight, will Real Madrid be able to do again what they did to Liverpool, or Liverpool will be able to turn the tables around? Kawawa is with us in studio. Hello, Kawawa.
Hello, Martin.
Yao Ofosula, I should say.
Yeah, but I mean, tonight's Liverpool, Real Madrid. I'm really looking forward to that game. I mean, as a neutral, I want a really good game.
Just to enjoy the game, huh?
Just to enjoy
All right,
really
so
good game.
give us other details.
Let's head into the sports news this afternoon here on Midday Live on TV3. And the Handball Association of Ghana is holding its first training workshop for handball referees in Ghana, aimed at improving the standard of officiating in the game.
The international handball course is part of a preparation towards the African Games in 2024. My colleague Daniel Yeboah has more in this report.
30 highly experienced referees from across the sub-region have attended the first ever handball workshop in Accra. The 3-day workshop opened on Tuesday with facilitators aiming to promote uniformity in interpretation and application of the laws in handball. It also serves as a way of preparing for the 2023 African Games scheduled for March 2024. Confederation of African Handball President Diabate Mamadozo and Darasoba Khadijatu are the two facilitators of the course designed for the trainees of referees within the region.
You need first your effort, and after we'll try to help. And also the second thing, I have here many young referees, many. And really in the future, I think Ghana will have some talented and good referee.
The Deputy Director General of the National Sports Authority, Mr. Banjit Bawa, charged all referees to take advantage of these and build their capacity for the nation.
The importance of this particular exercise that you are involved in is very important, not only for your development, but for the benefit of the whole country. You see, the capacity building is the surest way for development. And I can see very young men and women here who want to develop their capacity. And like my brother said, it means that there's future for officiating officials in handball, not only in Ghana, but for Africa.
The referees will get a chance to use what they pick from the workshop during the Challenge Cup, a competition slated for 10th to 16th of April this year.
My colleague Daniel Yeboah with our reports there. Now, Black Stars coach Chris Hughton will be unveiled in Kumasi on Monday, March 20, as part of the build-up to the match against Angola. The former Brighton and Hove Albion and Tottenham Hotspur manager will be presented to the media to share his vision, ideology and expectations with the public in Kumasi. The first engagement between the coach and the media in Kumasi will be a platform for the Football Association to also make public the targets, terms of engagement and other relevant information pertaining the manager's work. Well, some more stories right here on the sports segment here on Midday Live on TV3. And Morocco are to join Spain and Portugal in their bid for the 2020 FIFA World Cup. The Atlas Lions finished in 4th place. Now, this was confirmed at the CAF President's Awards ceremony on Tuesday. Well, now to some more stories, and the UEFA Champions League takes center stage tonight, and as you can see behind me, Liverpool will take on Real Madrid in the biggest game today, and Napoli will also play in the UEFA Champions League tonight against Eintracht Frankfurt. These are two fixtures that will be coming your way. Napoli doing so well in the Italian Serie A, 18 points clear now at the top of the Serie A table, but can they also do it in the UEFA Champions League? They take on Frankfurt tonight. And Liverpool go to the Santiago Bernabeu after going 5-2 down at Anfield. Can Liverpool overturn the score? We wait for 8 p.m. tonight. My name is Yao Fusulabi, and that's all the sports news here on Midday Live on TV3. Entertainment news is up next.
Time for entertainment news. Noella is with us in studio. Hello, Noella.
Hi, Martin.
Are you looking dashing in the flowery, blacky? All right, so tell us what's happening in entertainment.
So coming up in entertainment this afternoon on Midday Live with me, Noella, this Friday on Showbiz 360, we get to unveil some relatively unknown but super talented artists who will compete for the Unsung Artist title of the 24th Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. For 10 solid years, the VGMA has made a commitment to shine light on some budding acts and birth top music stars like Ms. V, Kwame Eugene, Kelvin Boy, Mr. Jew, Eno Baroni, Jackie, and many more. The 24th VGMA Unsung is a Charterhouse initiative with partnership from 3 Entertainment and sponsored by Close Up Complete Fresh Protection. Now, moving on to some more stories here on Midday Live. We have a lot coming up, and this Friday, make sure that you tune in to Giovanni's show because it's going to be an amazing one. But still on the entertainment, we have still celebrating Ghana Month. We put the spotlight on tozafi, also known as TZ, a popular local dish commonly consumed, especially in the northern part of Ghana. Now, tozafi, a highly nutritious Ghanaian delicacy, consists of 3 separate dishes, which are combined for the final dish: the meat stew, the ayoyo sauce, and the tozafi itself. TZ is made by cooking a combination of maize or millet flour and water. The word tozafi, that's to, means stirring or paddling, while the word zafi means hot. Tozafi is not only popular in Ghana, but also across some other parts of West Africa. It is normally eaten with any soup of your choice, but mostly common soup associated with tozafi is ayoyo or dry okra, which is also known as busheshe kebewa. Well, renowned Ghanaian actor and filmmaker Abeku Sego has appealed to the government to create an enabling environment to attract private investment in the film industry. According to the Back Home from Justice producer, the government has no business in funding the film sector. Rather, it should put in place structures for the industry to thrive.
The system we run in Ghana, nobody controls prices. The onus is on the consumer to shop around to find where you can get the best products at the right price. That gives you convenience by way of distribution. All right. Any product you are patronizing, if it is a physical product, you have the right to see the chemical composition, the ingredients that are written on the labels to understand.
We wrap up on entertainment here on Midday Live. My name is Noella Martin. International news is up next.
Okay.
The Nigeria Railways Corporation says it has begun building overhead bridges and underpasses at all level crosses in the city of Lagos in order to avoid accidents. The head of the railways company is quoted by local media by saying that the construction of barriers at these crossings is in the past and had not helped. This is because they were being vandalized soon after being erected or being hit by vehicles. He criticized Nigerians for not adhering to traffic regulations and urged motorists to be more cautious at level crossings. It comes after a collision between a passenger bus and a train last week in Lagos that left 3 people dead. Rwandan President Paul Kagame has said there were discussions about resolving the fates of Paul Rusesabagina, who was portrayed as a hero in the Hollywood film Hotel Rwanda and is serving a 25-year sentence in Rwanda on terrorism charges. Paul was sentenced in September 2021 over his ties to an organization opposed to Kagame's rule. He denied all the charges and has refused to take part in the trial that he and his supporters called a political sham. Washington has designated him as wrongfully detained partly because of what it called the lack of fair trial guarantees. Paul has U.S. permanent residency rights. Kagame has said his country would not be bullied over Paul, but Kagame appeared to suggest that there was room for compromise. The U.S. has accused Russia of reckless behavior after an American surveillance drone crashed into the Black Sea following an encounter with Russian fighter jets. The U.S. says the drone was on routine mission in international airspace when 2 Russian jets tried to intercept it. The incident highlights the increasing risk of direct confrontation between Russia and the U.S. over the Ukraine war. Russia denied that the 2 aircraft made any contact. The Russian Defense Ministry said the drone crashed after a sharp maneuver and that the MQ-9 Reaper drone was flying with its transponders turned off. Transponders are communications devices that allow aircrafts to be tracked.
And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you so much for spending your last 1 hour with us. If you visit our website, 3news.com, you get updates of all the stories we brought to you and several others. My name is Martin Asiedo. Have a good afternoon. And as always, stay positive. Bye.